A new job, a new city, but what should you do with your old home? Today we're going to talk about what to do in relocation and how that affects different types of owners into becoming potentially accidental landlords or intentional sellers. What are the biggest reasons for relocation that you see in our area right now?
Jobs. Off the job. You're getting transferred, whether it's within the state or across the country or out of the country. I mean, we get all of them.
My biggest one I see are grandparents. They're moving closer to grandkids, and their kids got relocated for a job, and so here come the grandparents afterwards. Yep. We don't tend to see a lot of military in our area unless they're retiring and coming here. I just actually got someone that reached out to me today. They're coming from Virginia, and they're moving out towards Greenville because they're going to go get a job at L3 and do defense contracting. So we'll get some of those, a handful of those, at least on our end for the buy side. But a lot of times we see a lot of grandparents that are just up in everything, and they're the most stressed out. How do we handle that part?
Talk to your professionals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't stress over this. It's a big move, but talk to the people, ask lots of questions. Make sure you're well informed so that you can make a good decision. I call it an educated decision.
Yes.
But you don't. There's no stupid question.
Right.
Ask everything.
Except the one you don't ask.
Yep.
That's the dumbest question, is the one that you didn't ask.
That's true.
Yes. But no, and then finding out, how long are you going to be in your next place? Are you going to be leaving for a long term? Is it temporary? Is it permanent? Is there a ceiling to this job that you might be relocating for? Or maybe the kids are only going to be in the area for so long, so you might be boomeranging back. So knowing those kind of questions are going to kind of help you set up if you wanted to lease out your house or list the house.
We could both look at this two different ways, because you're looking at where are they wanting to move. You can buy them a house there.
Right.
I'm looking at, okay, what are you leaving behind? I can rent that for you.
Yep.
So that's where both of us can come to play.
Well, and some lenders, if we can get that property leased, they'll wash away that debt to income on your payment because someone's paying it instead. And so you won't be contingent on selling your house to go buy the new house. It's just financially it has to make sense for you. So that's a lender conversation. That's an us conversation. But a lot of people think, well, I have a renter in place, but I still have to afford both payments to get the new house.
It's income coming in, so it's like
offset.
You got a secondary job.
Yes, it gets offset. And a lot of people don't realize that. No, do they do the full amount? No, it's always a portion of it, right, because they have to make risk analysis on that. But a lot of people don't realize they could do that. So if it's maybe a temporary situation where they might be coming back, they could potentially move back into their house. How does that process look?
We just recently had somebody that they were out of the country and they're coming back in. We ended up replacing the floors for them, painting. I mean, we made the house brand new again, and they came in and, wow, this is better than when we left it.
Isn't that great?
And we leased the property for 3 years for them. I mean, they were just happy as could be, because I left this house to you. You took care of it. We made income while we were gone, and now we're moving back in, and it's better than when we left it. So,
and they get all that appreciation they've had for the last several years. They get the school districts they originally bought it for. They have the floor plan they fell in love with. Usually people don't just buy houses to buy houses. They're usually emotionally tied to the houses.
The kids still have their friends.
Yes.
They're still there. They're moving back.
Yep.
It's kind of, hey, how are you doing? I'm back.
I love it. So there's opportunities for temporary. There's opportunities for permanent. What we want to try to avoid is the accidental landlord, where they maybe have, when we relocated, we get 30 days notice to have to do everything we need to do. We would always try to sell it at the same time, because right, I've said I wish we would have rented. But how long does it take to get a house make ready for lease and a tenant in place these days? Usually
once we get access, once they sign a property management agreement, I can represent them. We have vendors on staff or within calling distance of coming in and starting the work. Typically it takes less than 2 weeks to get the house ready. And generally that's when we'll call the photographers in, take professional pictures, and then go in and I have it listed. And sometimes depending on the house, location, price point, all that, you may have somebody moving in that next week.
But it needs all that prep.
But you've got to do that. You can't show a property that's got carpet stains, or you got
Or you left all your stuff in
crap
it
over,
still.
all over the wall. If you leave a half the house full of old furniture that you don't want.
Or they like to
people
lock
don't
it
want
in
any of that.
the garage and then say you don't have access to the garage. No renter doesn't want garage access.
I get asked all the time, we have a study, can I load all my stuff in there and leave it, and we just put a lock on it and they don't have access to it? Well, no, because the tenant's going to go, well, what's in there?
Yep.
Could it be drugs? Could
Yep.
it be a bomb? Could it be anything?
Yep.
And now I'm responsible for it because I live in the house.
Yep.
And if anything does happen to it, the owner's saying, well, no, you don't have to worry about it. It's all on me. But no, it's on the tenant.
When you're losing a whole bedroom or an office,
Yes.
you're losing a whole amenity to the property, a feature of
Correct.
the property that people are looking for.
Right.
Instead of just putting in a storage unit while you're out. An air-conditioned storage unit does not cost that much money. We have plenty of storage units around the
I
area.
try to tell them, don't go cheap. You got to get it out.
Yeah.
And if you don't fix the house before you list it, people don't. They're ready to move in now, and they don't have the imagination to, or they don't want to. They don't want to have
Yeah.
to.
They're usually in a bind.
They're ready to go.
When we work with tenants that we're trying to get into a home, they're in a bind. They found out that their lease ended and they forgot to renew it, or they sold their house, or just something crazy is happening where life is happening. And a lot of times we look at them and go, we can get you in a rental in probably 3 to 5 days, honestly. If everyone's on top of
I'm
paperwork.
looking at 20 houses this weekend,
Yep.
and I'm picking one. I don't care what it is. We're picking one, and that's where we're going.
That's where we're going. And they're moving right in. But they don't have time to paint. They don't have time to do all those
Right.
things. And they usually don't have the budget for it either. And so you're going to pay for that in your rental amounts. It's
Right.
worth getting the extra rental and the urgency for multiple tenants to try to move into the property. When life hits hard, late payments, medical bills, job loss, or even the need to move quickly, many homeowners feel trapped. The fastest way out seems to be selling to a cash investor, but that means giving your home away for pennies on the dollar. You don't have to do that. Nearly half of homeowners today are equity rich, and that value belongs to you. With our One Move program, you can unlock that equity immediately, get cash in hand now, and still share in the upside when your home resells. Or, if you'd rather, we'll shop your property to multiple cash buyers so you can choose the best offer instead of settling for one low bid. Go to DunnDealOffers.com and discover the smarter way to get cash fast without losing the equity you've worked so hard to build.
To those who take the risk, who bet their life savings, their blood, sweat, and tears on a rental property to make a nice place for someone to live and a nice living for themselves. To those who get this call or no call at all. To those who keep adding more properties, it will all be worth it for you and for them. You care about preserving your investments. So do we. Real Property Management.
No, I think that's a really great point to make because it can be just really, really condensed in timing when you're relocating, whether you're on one side or the other. When it comes to selling the property in a relocation, we usually need them out of the property. It's usually the least amount of stress if they've moved and gone on, but then they got to carry both budgets. And that gets even more stressful because maybe they haven't started the job yet. They haven't gotten their first paycheck yet. So it does start to get really strenuous on everyone's mindset over time. But usually from there, we get it prepped and ready the way that we go through our process, which is very different from your process of prepped and ready. But usually we can get a really flexible showing time because we're vacant. So it's go and show. We don't have to request an hour notice.
You could show it in the middle of the night if you have to.
Well, we don't show in the middle of the night, but it gets pretty late. We can have some later ones, but we're not interrupting people's dinner. We're not interrupting nap time. We're not interrupting calls from work from home. Like we're just showing and going is the term that we use. And that can be helpful, but then we also have to work with long distance tenant or landlords and sellers. And so communication's really important during this whole process because they're trying to get settled somewhere else, whether they're working with you or working with me, they're getting settled somewhere else and they just want you to take care of it essentially. And that, I think we both have services that really allow us to do that and then just keep them informed most of the way. But yeah, it can be a really stressful process.
How often do you do video conferences for out of state?
Anytime they're out of state, we always want to get them on video because we can build rapport with them and we're actually a person. If we just do a phone call, it doesn't feel the same. That's my first step is let's get on a Zoom call. And that was probably one of the only great things that came out of COVID times was everyone got used to being on camera on a Zoom call. Most people were so reluctant to do that. Now it's just secondhand nature. And any kid these days, that's how they call their friends right now. Now, do we do video walkthroughs? Usually that doesn't happen with us because they're already here. And now I have done where I've received access to a property and they were gone. I was like the second or third agent trying to sell the property. It was vacant. And I got access to property and I walked through on FaceTime with them so they could tell me about the house as I was walking through their vacant house and they were in Virginia or another state. So I have done that. I'm a really good second and third agent when they don't actually listen to instructions and then they have to work with me. And then we're really getting, we just got one under contract where I'm third agent and fifth time on the market. We have a really good track record of doing that, but I wish we wouldn't have to get there. They would just work with us first and not have to deal with it. But sometimes we have to come in as a second or third agent.
And learn.
Yeah. Second and third agent coming in there just to get it sold. But because we have a process, we have a really elaborate but professional process that gets the house sold. But a lot of times they don't need to do that. They might be coming back to, and that's a lot of their fears. What if we don't stay out here? We love Texas. I'm always a true Texan. If I have to go somewhere else, I'm always coming back. And so you'll see, I think leasing out the property makes a lot of sense so they can come back to it. Unless maybe it's a starter home and their family's going to grow and they decide they want to buy something bigger when they come back. That's when we might see them sell instead because they're not sure where they want to land when they come back, instead of keeping it as that investment property. But
so I got something for you. I walked through one of your properties the other day, and I was impressed because you got every room has a name tag on it, and it tells you the dimensions. It tells you any features. Make sure you look at this. And I went through, and I mean it was.
It's like a little Easter egg hunt.
I've never seen a realtor do that.
It takes time.
So it was good.
Well, we like it
and
because...
then you had the information book that had all the schools, all the local restaurants. I was impressed.
Thank you. I know it's not often that you get to walk through our listings, but we do that because we're not there to show the property. And so if we can put little signs around the house, and it makes them stay longer because they want to go.
Helps the other realtors.
Yes. And that's the best feedback we get is when another real estate agent is like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for the way you prepped your house because I didn't know anything about it and they wanted to see it real quick and it was vacant so we could pop in and that just really helped me out. And that's our goal is we want to sell the property. So that means I have to do someone else's job.
Make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, I'm going to do their job to make my job easier. It's part of the process sometimes. But yeah, it is a labor of love for sure. So when does it make sense to sell versus when it makes sense to keep it as a rental?
A lot of people on that, they're looking at, God, I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to call vendors. I don't want to do that. That's why you hire us.
Yep.
That's what we're there for.
Because then it's like, well, do you want to check?
The only time we call you is if we need to get an approval.
Right.
And you get an electronic check each month and
move on.
Not 80% of the time there's no problems and it's just a cookie cutter check in the mail kind of operation. But we're there for that 20% of the time where it gets ugly.
The part they don't want to do.
Right.
And that solves that problem. But there are times where it's like, you know what, we really need the money from this home sale. We have to use it to get to the next spot because maybe they don't have other types of savings involved or they...
You can't fault them for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to...
It happens.
Yep.
But I think at least having the conversation, that's what we do. It's like, okay, I know you need this, but have you actually seen the numbers? Because sometimes they just do napkin math and it's not accurate. And they don't realize what it might cost to sell the property once they get through closing costs and fees. And it's like, well, you could hold it as a rental and, keep moving forward. And we've had a lot more lately than before just because we are switching into that buyer's market. the sellers aren't getting as much as they want. They're selling under list price. They're having to give away concessions. They're reducing price every week, and they're staying on the market longer. So they have a bunch of carrying costs every month. So instead, you could put a tenant in place, get that payment in until the market turns over and gets a little better.
A lot of them, for each month that you're sitting on the market, if it's a $2,000 or $2,400 a month property, you're looking at, you could lower the price to $200 and
had a tenant in place.
So a lot
so
of
we're
owners,
doing 3
they
to
don't realize
5%
that.
off the list price, which is way more than $200.
Yes.
And just to settle out sometimes, and that's just because there's no buyers out there to buy.
And we both have programs that you can load in the mortgage, the interest, the insurance, all the HOA fees.
Yep.
We both have programs where you can load that in, and you can see you're off the cocktail napkin, and now you're actually seeing a spreadsheet of which is the best scenario for me.
Yep. Nope. That's the way to do it, is at least, and if you want to take it a step further, then have a conversation with us. We don't charge to have conversations. We want to educate clients to make sure they're making the right decision, because I don't want to be the second agent. I don't want to be the third agent. I want to be the first agent, and we get the plan right, or know that, okay, we need to turn around and hand it over to Glynn. And from there, it's just an easy handoff. It's, here are my clients. They're going to be reaching out to you, figure out what's going on, and see if we can pull it. So it is tough to relocate because a lot of people aren't anticipating it. Like, it's kind of an interruption to their life. But knowing who to call and what to do, and at least asking all the questions, you can at least get a better plan, so you're not rushing into something that you don't want to regret later. Because I think that's a big problem, is having that kind of seller's remorse that you should have held on to that's what I had.
Yes.
A lot of seller's remorse. I don't want to have any of that. So knowing how to add some freedom to your life instead of friction, and being able to enjoy the transition into the new spot.